Is to discuss, obviously with Jimmy and David, because we've got you in, David, about the nature of being a jockey. And you know, for us, certainly for me and people watching this programme, we're punters, we like backing horses to win. But as making a living out of the game, A, is difficult, and B, the amount of injuries that you've had as well. Do you want to disclose some of the injuries first of all?
Yeah, well, obviously, it's a sport where we have an ambulance driving after us. Anyone can get hurt at any time. I've broken 7 collarbones, dislocated 2 shoulders.
You've got 1 collarbone, David.
I know.
He's broken 7 of them.
I've broken 4 here and 3 on this side. I broke my forearm here, dislocated my elbow. I broke my right leg. I had a compound fracture. When I fell, the leg was turned back at me, and the first nurse that came to me straightened it straight away, which was, I didn't feel a thing at the time. I was in.
Did they whisper in your ear, do you want us to just straighten it?
Well, the leg was turned back, so the quickest thing, the best thing they can do is to correct it back into the right position.
Ooh.
But I was in that much pain on the ground at Plumpton, I didn't even feel a thing.
Do you feel, I mean, obviously they doled the fence off and the racing carries on. How long was you on the floor for? I mean,
I was probably on the ground for, I think, about 20 minutes before they got me stabilised and onto a stretcher, put me onto a stretcher and things like that. But pain is just something you put to the back of your mind, you know. That was very painful at the time, but when you're coming back from injury, you know, all you're wanting to do is get back on a horse. Like, I thought I'd be out for 3 months, and I was out for 11 months, 11 and a half months. And but all your goal is just getting back on the horse at the very end of it, you know.
And it must have been very difficult for you if in your mind you've got 3 months, you say to yourself, I'm going to be back on the saddle in 3 months, it becomes 11 months. Those months after 6 months become very lonely because presumably you don't get calls from trainers, you know, you don't get calls from jockeys. In a way, you're a bit of a forgotten man. Is that a fair comment?
Totally. If you're out of the sport for a week, you're forgotten about. One thing I did try and keep my name in the paper and so people didn't forget me was the day I broke my leg, I didn't shave or cut my hair for, well, I said I'd do it until I came back and to raise money for the Jockeys fund. And I did it, I thought to be back in 3 months, sure, this is no problem at all, we'll just crack on, grow the hair and whatever else. But I got to 6 months and I thought, my God, I need to have a shave.
Is there any pictures of him, Jimmy?
There is.
Where can we see them?
We'll have to dig him out. Yeah.
I dyed my hair green and got AP to shave it off. We had a big party up at the Plough pub up in Ford at the bottom of John Joe's Gallops and raised 16.5 grand for the Jockeys fund. I went around at the races at the time doing a bucket collection. Just counting coins at home was a job in itself, but it kept me sane because it gave me something to do while I was off injured. And you know, it was for a worthy cause.
In relation to the India Jockeys fan, obviously you was off for that length of time. Do you get paid? Do they look after? I mean, who look after you?
We all pay every riding fee. A percentage goes into a thing called PRIS, which is Professional Riders Insurance Scheme, and so we get paid. It goes in the amount of rides you've had the season before and how much you get paid. So I was on a wage share. I had my own insurance then as well. So that kept us tied over. Luckily, I didn't have to worry about that when I was off injured.
And I talked to you before we came on about the psychology of getting back into the saddle. I mean, I've never ridden a horse at all, as you can probably tell at home. but even in other sports where I actually was pretty good, it's the psychology aspect of getting back in. Now, you said, look, no fear, you've got to get back in the saddle. Was that the case? Was that?
Yeah. Well,
or did you think you were ready beforehand and tried it and thought, oh, I'm not quite...
The day you think about it being painful or anything come back is the day you want to retire. Now, when I came back with my leg, I was riding out for 2 months. I was riding out Nicky Henderson's, and I knew the leg wasn't right, and I thought, geez, taking a fall is going to be bad. And I was up schooling with Ian Williams one day, and the horses were fresh at the start of the season. Horse whipped around me going down to school and fell off. All the lads in the string were there laughing at me, and I was laughing myself. I was absolutely delighted. I got straight back up, and I knew I was ready to go then. Just getting that first fall out of the way, you know you're ready to roll then. But I was very unstable on my leg. Even when I did come back, it was probably a month after before I was fully confident with my leg again, because I was having so much difficulty. If I just tripped up coming out of the door of the house, it was like I had Tourette's. It was coming out of me swear words were coming out of me before I could even control it. But after a while, once you get your confidence up, then I was away since I had that fall then.
Yeah, and obviously with you, Jimmy, it's the extreme, because obviously your fall led to the fact that you know, upsettingly for you, you couldn't get back in the saddle, because obviously we talked about this before. That must have been devastating to be told the news that you can't ride professionally anymore.
Yeah, I think what's worse is I was advised to have an operation which would get me back to racing. And it was 15 months I spent totally tunnel vision, like Dave says, you know, just trying to keep involved. I went to spend time in America, track riding for Christophe Clement, and you know, I was schooling regularly, I was riding out. I did this for close to a year and a half, thinking that I would get back riding, and then I found out I couldn't. And I think it was a bigger blow then, because I was just so focused, and you know, and then to be told no. So that was hard. I think listen, it was, I suppose, a combination of wrong diagnosis and different things at the start. But yeah, it was a blow. Of course it was. But I mean, you know, you get over it. I could be dead, or I could be a lot worse than I am. So that's.
And we've got you on our panel, which is
exactly.
Unfortunate for you. But like Jimmy was saying there, you have to have that tunnel vision. Like when you get injured, all you're thinking about is the day you get back on the horse, you're back at the races. That is your one goal. Nothing else. Like Jockey's life is quite selfless. All we looking at.
It's an obsession, like,
yeah,
isn't
it's
it?
an obsession.
You're just totally. You don't care about anything else. You know, it could be your best friend's wedding on a Sunday, but you might have 2 rides at Plumpton. It doesn't matter. But you'll go racing.
You'll go racing, exactly. Nothing else counts.
Only
riding, and that's the thing. It's quite selfless for poor Jimmy's girlfriend at home and the enemy of mine back at home as well. Like, because we can be very impulsive and in the zone the whole time.
In terms of, I mean, Jimmy's put on a bit of weight since he stopped riding, but and in terms of yourself,
a bit.
I mean, how do you keep so? Do you go in the sauna every night?
He's too mean to buy food.
I was quite lucky actually. Because with my leg I had a lot of muscle wastage, so I actually lost a bit of weight. And I said, when you're off, you end up going down to the pub and things like that. And I said, one thing you do when you're brought up in Ireland, you go out for a drink, you stop and have a takeaway then on the way home. So that's one thing I cut out, and I was quite lucky in that. But I'm quite
because you're not mobile and you've got to stay home all the time. I know you're tunnel vision to get back in the tunnel, but you ain't got much to do.
Exactly, yeah. You try and do, like, as soon as I got injured, I was back down in Oaksey House. I was in hospital for 2 weeks, and then I was straight back down to Oaksey House in Lamburn and doing as much as I could in the gym and things like that. But see, it's hard because you're conscious of the weight. Like some jockeys put on a stone and a half when they get injured, and that can just, the mentality can wreck your head as well.
It sounds like you put a stone and a half in your beard.
Ruby Walsh was interviewed once after his last fall. Remember, he broke his leg, I think it was 3 seasons ago, and he broke it at Down Royal in October, November time.
We have to rush you because we go for a break, but we'll carry on talking about it.
He missed for several months, and he said, physical pain is nothing. He said it's the mental pain of watching all the horses I could have rode.
Yeah.
Someone else riding.
And I suppose ticking them off as well.
Yeah, and as they all won.